Well, good morning. The Special Investigating Unit has to work non-stop, considering the amount of allegations of corruption and maladministration in South Africa. In the latest proclamation signed off by the President, the SIU will investigate tender corruption in the Northwest Province and maladministration at the KwaZulu-Natal Transport Department. In the KZN matter, the SIU will try to recover 85 million rand paid to build a wall between Kganyago and Mozambique. And in another tender fiasco, civil proceedings have been launched against the contractor, given a 1.2 million rand contract to supply masks to the Northwest Education Department. Well, we're joined now by the SIU spokesperson, Kaizer Kganyago. Kaizer, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I mean, the proclamations to investigate tender corruption and fraud just don't stop. Just remind viewers, please, how you differ from other law enforcement agencies.
Thank you, Annika, and thank you to your viewers. We differ from the other law enforcement agencies because our specialty is forensic investigation, and we then go into the details, and at the end of it, we are able to then recover the money through the special tribunal. In terms of our act, we do not arrest people. Therefore, when we've got criminality, we refer to the others. But we only look at government institutions, and the information that they then the investigation is only on state institutions and SOEs.
And that money, I presume, goes straight back into the fiscus?
Yes, when we get the money and take it back to the institution where the money was taken from. The money will be given to the SIU, and then we put it in a trust account, and then we take it back to the institution that suffered the loss.
Let's talk about the tender given to a company to supply masks in the Northwest Province. Were they ever delivered to the Education Department?
Yes, when we were doing the investigation around the mask, we found that the company was given a tender to deliver 50,000 three-layered masks. And the first thing that we checked was whether the contract was given properly, which we found it was not. Secondly, we found that there was overpayment or overcharging that happened because the whole cost of that was about 1.2 million rand. And then later on, we wanted to see whether there was any delivery note somewhere. And then we found that there's no proof. We are not saying at the moment that it was not delivered, but there's no proof anywhere that these masks were delivered. Therefore, those are the things that are making us worry. That's why we are taking this matter forward through the special tribunal.
And we presume that there were sort of thousands of school kids and teachers who should have had those masks that didn't get them. Moving to KZN, millions paid to a consortium to build a wall. Was it ever completed?
Yes, the consortium there in the Department of Transport was given this job, which was to build a wall between Kganyago and Mozambique. Then that wall, it was supposed to be 8 kilometers long at a cost of 85 million rand. As we speak, as at the last time we checked towards the end of last year, they had only built 0.166 meters, and they had already paid that company more than half of that 85 million, which is about 48 million, which for us did not make sense because at least with 48 million, you should have built at least 3 to 4 kilometers. But with 0.166 having been paid 48 million, it doesn't make sense to us.
A state of disaster always opens the door for tender corruption, doesn't it? It just bypasses all Treasury's basic protocols that are needed for tender procurement, and it's a big problem.
Right, it is a very big problem for us. If you look, we looked at the PPE scandal that is around, and we looked at what was the issues, what were the issues that were involved. We found that, for example, people thought because there's a state of emergency and the procurement is on an emergency basis, you then have the license to not follow processes. Even though it was very clear from Treasury when they did the notes that they put out the instruction notes, it was very clear that in as much as it is an emergency, you still need to follow processes. And if you do not follow processes, we will come after you. Therefore, the people just thought they can do. Look at, for example, what happened with the Department of Education in Gauteng. where people were just sending SMSs to each other, and those companies were appointed, even when they were not even on the CSD, the central database of government. They are not even registered to be doing that kind of work. You find a car wash delivering the equipment that are medical in nature, which means that company should have registered with SAPRA, for example. But those are the things that people do, and they never thought that we will come looking. And now that we have come looking, they then start thinking that we are after them as individuals when they did the work and then they did not follow processes.
Well, SIU spokesperson Kaizer Kganyago, thank you as always for your time. And just to remind you that during the PPE procurement over the times, it's found by the Auditor General that only 2 provinces actually followed correct tender processes.